Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Oliver Crocco. I go by Ozzie, and I'm delighted once again to be here giving a short video about the shift from human resource development to human development in academic literature, specifically what's occurring in the United States literature. So I'd like to start with three pieces of evidence that I see that there is some precedent for this shift in the academic literature. And the literature that I focus on comes from the Academy of Human Resource Development, which was founded in the United States, but which is a global organization. And AHRD, the Academy of Human Resource Development, has four sponsored academic journals that I searched to see, who's talking about human development. Where has it come up in the last, 20 years or so? So those three, I want to start first with the biggest one, which was actually started as a keynote at the international conference, which occurred in Hungary, by Peter Kuchinka, who just retired, but for a long time was a scholar in the United States. And he wrote a perspectives piece called Human Development as the Central Goal for Human Resource Development. Very loud and clear message that when you break it down, the central goal of HRD is actually human development. And so the goal of this essay was to connect aspects of human development, that literature, with the scholarship of HRD. And one core point that Dr. Kuchinke makes is that when you actually look at what HRD practice involves, it actually is very similar to human development. Especially when you look at national human resource development, that's essentially human development. The work of non-for-profits and even in for-profit settings, much of the work of human resource development can be classified within the domain of human development. So I think there is precedent for thinking about human resource development as human development. And he goes on to say that the broader range of human development dimensions with the goal of human flourishing, and that's a key phrase, it ought to be acknowledged, considered, and debated when doing HRD theorizing and application. The second point along this journey comes in 2015 with Dr. Laura Bierma, who is at the University of Georgia and actually is currently the president of the Academy of Human Resource Development. And by the way, I put a link there to the website if you're curious. I currently serve as a member of the board of directors for the Academy of Human Resource Development. So in this guest editorial, Dr. Bierma is talking about critical human development. And so here she uses a critical lens to think about what are we doing in HRD. And she brings up human development. She thinks we should be talking about it as critical human development. And she writes that, for example, when you think about the phrase work-life balance, you're privileging work by putting it before life. So she actually uses the phrase life balance instead of saying work-life balance, because that means, when you say work-life balance, your brain goes, oh, I have to prioritize my work and then I'll do my life. When that's a very distorted way of looking at the world and at life. But so she problematizes a lot of terms like human performance technology, broker of productivity, human resources. And she has this very articulate line where she says, our field's work in organizations focuses on human development. So she acknowledges what we do in HRD is human development. And that description of our focus is explicit enough without adding the idea of people as a resource, quote unquote, to be bought, sold, and even exploited. By the way, there is a very good book published by Harvard University Press, which looks at the history of the term human capital. And the origins of human capital actually go back to the slave trade, when slave owners were trying to, they actually thought of their slaves as capital. So what kind of capital are they? They are human capital. So similarly, Dr. Bierma is pointing out here that, when you think about someone as a resource, well, what do we do with other resources? What do we do with our financial resources? We sell them, we trade them, we exploit them, fine, because they have no feelings, but humans do have feelings. Humans are people with human dignity that needs to be respected. The last piece on this journey is a relatively recent article published in the same journal as the previous one, entitled Human Resource Development Review. And this article looks at the identity of HRD as as um, a field of study and practice, and looks at the evolution. And so they do a lot of very sophisticated citation analyses and try to sort of understand where has the field been and where is it going? Because if you think about it, it is a relatively new field of academic study. The first program in human resource development in the United States was in 1975. And the first time that those terms were even used was around World War II. That was really when it became popular, thinking about how to develop people to be more productive in whatever you were trying to do. In that case, war. So those authors, they look at the different waves of HRD. So beginning with the first wave, which is when HRD was all about learning and performance. And then the second wave of HRD is when it shifts to thinking about, strategic HRD, organizational learning, aligning HRD to business strategies, change management, blah, blah, blah. The third wave that we're in now is the expansion of the field into a more postmodern identity, which includes human development, ethics, and corporate social responsibility. So this to me is a reflection of the holistic nature that we are seeing, that human resource development is not an isolated function where we're looking to, boost learning or performance, or we're not just trying to, accomplish these very narrow goals. We are trying to do something in all organizations that is really big and holistic, and that includes the development of people. I want to share one last thing with you, which is according to the Academy of Human Resource Development, there are these 8 domains of HRD. And if you look at them, organization development, training and development, career development, critical human resource development, diversity, equity, and inclusion in HRD, cross-cultural human resource development, evaluation in HRD, and strategic HRD. If you think about this conceptualization of HRD, I think it's pretty nuanced, but it is missing. It's pretty holistic, but it's missing the idea that I think it still is hampered in that old paradigm. But I think you can kind of see with the inclusion of diversity, equity, and inclusion, critical human resource development, training and development, career development, there are other pieces where you're starting to see that it is beginning to reflect more of a human development focus, which I think is really exciting. Now, the question is, who will author the next chapter of the journey? And I think that's where you come in. That's where I come in. I really would like to write more about this, to write about a new way of thinking about the field, and really slowly continue sort of dropping this idea of people as resources and thinking more holistically. How can organizations support their people, invest in their people, and help all people in the organization to flourish, and to see that human flourishing is intimately connected to the vision and mission of virtually every organization on earth. So thank you very much. I know I was a little bit long, but it's so wonderful to speak with you all. Wishing you all a happy, if you celebrate holidays this time of year, happy holidays, and best of luck as you finish your certification. Cheers. Bye-bye.